Okay, now I'm recording. Hi, my name is Karen Connolly. I'm the owner of Balanced Explorations. Thank you for joining me today for day 3 of the What is Sustainable Travel Masterclass. So I'm going to pick up where I left off yesterday, which was kind of going over the wide variety of different types of things that fall under the sustainability label, with the various organizations all working together towards that common goal. So what we're up to today, where I left off, was diversifying source markets, both international and domestic. But part of that is also raising the perceived value of the natural and cultural heritage of the people who live in the areas. So they might not think it's important. Oh yeah, that's just, they're so used to seeing it that they don't, understand that it's actually a special thing. So I have a personal travel experience related to this in Japan when I went in 2017. I had a few, it was a tour, but I had a few days to myself. So what I decided to do was do some research for some, fun and exciting things I could do. And I found out there was this way, it was a local business where people could dress up in the imperial robes of Japan, and there were several other ones, but that's the one I chose. And they didn't even really speak English. I had my my iPhone with Google Translate on it, with like a pocket Wi-Fi unit in my bag, because I knew I didn't know if I'd be in areas that didn't have signal, and I wanted to have a Wi-Fi signal with me everywhere I went. So that was pretty awesome. But what they told me is, there's talk, about cultural appropriation in the United States. They talk about it a lot, but when I was in Japan, they were so happy that I was interested in their culture that I actually wanted to feel their their robes and put them on and have that experience, and that they wished that more younger Japanese people did, because they just weren't that interested in it. So I guess they had more tourists coming in to do that experience than not even just locals. I mean, anywhere in Japan, it wasn't that it wasn't geared to that. It's just that they were saying that a lot of people in Japan are more, I guess, modern, so they just weren't really that excited to dress up from clothing from like 200-300 years ago, that just wasn't of interest to them at all. And they were kind of sad about that. So they were happy that me, and other people like me were actually, visitors from out of the country and of different cultures were interested in their culture. And it was keeping it alive. Otherwise, it might have died out like a while back. So even if tourists keep some kind of a little bit of culture alive until the locals start to see the value in it a little more. And I mean, that was the most amazing experience. It was like having two women dress me in like 12 different layers of kimono, and they were all silk, and it was so heavy, but I didn't have to move. I was literally just standing there and holding my arms out, and they took pictures. But that's another thing that is culturally, different. The aesthetic in pictures. So obviously they took pictures. They took a lot of pictures. And I think what I did was I paid for 3. And I thought I was going to get to pick the pictures that I liked, where I thought I looked good. and it turns out the photographer just wasn't having it at all. I didn't even get to see like the pictures. I mean, this was like what, an hour and a half experience. And he just picked 3 pictures, and they weren't necessarily what I would have chosen at all. I might have chosen a picture where I was smiling, for example, if I think I look better when I smile. And it was like a very, the calm, emotionless face was the picture he gave me. I don't have it right in front of me, but it was like, it almost made me wish that I had bought the package with all the photos, and yet they would have all been digital though. I think I actually got hard copies of the photos. So now I have them in a photo album. And, but I still have the memories, and I have those 3 pictures, and that's stuck in my mind, with them saying that people in Japan were not very interested in their culture and didn't come to them for that specialty service, which was really luxurious. I mean, it felt so luxurious to me. And they had, even bigger packages, but, I was new to doing something like that. And I just wanted to do something that I could only do in Japan. I also had a private ikebana class, which is flower arranging. And in that, I learned it was like completely opposite of the aesthetic, in the United States, for example, where I have taken some flower arranging classes with I think it was the Bronx Botanical Garden, maybe a couple of others. And I've done some through Alice's Table and those type of things. And normally you would learn how to arrange flowers so that you can kind of take any flowers available and do something creative with it, and not have it be super formulaic, except knowing that, maybe this size flower should probably be lower, and, cut the stem shorter, and, to make like a base instead of a big heavy flower on top and it'll fall over, something like that. But in Japan, it's like they learn the skill and the aesthetic to make it a particular way. It's like, oh no, it's like you don't learn it so that you do whatever you want. You learn it so that you can make it in this at least somewhat prescribed form. At least that's what the teacher I had told me, and that's I'm sure there might be some avant-garde, flower arrangers in Japan that might do things differently, which would probably also be in the bigger, maybe cities. I don't know if they even have that kind of thing in Tokyo. I did this in Kyoto, and with the same school, I did like one after the other. I did a private tea ceremony too. And it's interesting. I mean, I think I had one before in the United States. I think she was expecting like more questions from me, but I had actually studied tea. I still have like a book on the tea ceremony and stuff. So I've actually done a lot of reading and research on tea in the past, although not in recent years. But so I didn't have like a super amount of questions, and it just, I don't know. I think the bigger, some of them might have something more as like a teaching moment to teach their culture, and some it's more like a demonstration. And what I felt in the tea ceremony was, it was more like a demonstration, and like, now what? You know, it's and maybe it depends on if it's a smaller, you know, tea house or school, or a bigger one that caters more often to bigger classes and more tourists at a time. And it might be more of like a show, but maybe that's the whole point of it. We from other countries visiting Japan might think that the tea ceremony is more of like a show than it actually is. So keep that in mind when you're traveling to other countries, that, you know, this might just be something they do. It might be a short ceremony. It might be something that was more important in the past, and they're just keeping, you know, their culture alive. And it's not, you know, for your, you know, not just for your entertainment. Although I guess obviously if they're selling it to tourists, they know that tourists will expect some kind of experience. But if it's maybe if it's a more authentic experience, then there's less, you know, showmanship involved. Okay, so the next topic is stopping the use of disposable plastics. So that's like a big kind of change there. And what some cities are starting to do, maybe even some countries, is have water refill stations, you know, to, you know, eliminate the use of everyone having to buy small plastic bottles. And then they have nothing to do with them. Like they don't have the recycling facilities, or they're too overloaded. And as I've said before, a lot of these just end up in the ocean. So it's, you know, it's a hard kind of balance there. And that's just like one of the things they know they can do. But I know most people would probably want it to be filtered water and not just like tap or out of the ground. So that would put additional strain on the local economy. But some of the destinations are really understanding that importance. And the other thing people do is, I like in the spa I go to sometimes, they have larger containers of toiletries, like in the shower. So you can just have shampoo, conditioner, body wash. It's like a big container. And the same thing in hotels. I think it was the Holiday Inn that was deciding to switch out from the small trial sizes to the bigger ones. And I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm sure they're realizing that there's not just, you know, a plastic and, you know, a disposal and a waste stream problem there, but they might also have problems, you know, it's more than just that. It could also be a big expense for them. So they're probably realizing, you know, the money saving, you know, effects of having larger containers or refillable containers, where, you know, they just have like a bigger container on their carts when they go around and service, you know, the different, you know, when they check out your bathroom, and they, you know, just refill it. And I'm sure that greatly reduces on the cost, because otherwise, if they're used, I'm sure they have to just throw them out at that point because they still have some stuff in them. And I know if you use it, then you throw it out in the garbage there because there's probably not special recycling for the tiny little plastic bottles that they use for the disposable toiletries. But it is still nice to have them sometimes because I know that I've tried out new products that I enjoyed. I think I was at the W Hotel in Hoboken and they had Bliss products, and I just loved the lotion that they had. So when I came home, I actually bought like 2 big tubes of it. I still have it. I haven't used it all, but it is nice to like be able to try out a smaller size of thing, beyond the time when you're there. But maybe not every product. Maybe if they have just a special product, like a sample that they're trying to encourage use of, and if it's a sustainable or local product, even better for everyone. And the next thing, which is kind of what this whole masterclass so far is based on, is these sustainability standards, and that's what gives it kind of legitimacy. So you'll see some hotels or resorts, you'll see that they have like a little symbol on their website somewhere. I've looked at a few of them, and I don't know if it was in Germany or somewhere. I don't know if it was in Greece or Germany or something. I think it was somewhere in Europe. There was a property, and my intern had sent me that link as a potential property to look at, to share with my clients. And I was really looking and trying to find the anything in their text on their website, pictures, something on the menu, anything at all. And I found nothing. And I'm like, is this a mistake? Like, why did you give me this one? And he pointed out that it had some sustainability symbol on it. So, I mean, there's something to look for. And the purpose of sustainability standards is for like to have a minimum criteria for these places to meet. And it's both for industries and destinations. So, I mean, it's definitely something to look for when you're looking for a hotel, but there's a lot more available than that. That's just really the bare minimum that they should be doing. It means they're meeting at least the criteria of that one credentialing body, so. And what I'm sure you have noticed throughout this whole thing is that there are different degrees of, I guess you could say, different degrees of specificity. And it can be put into just 3 or 4 different categories. It doesn't need to be broken down into 13 different principles, really, because all of those are really combined and they all interact with each other. But it does give more specifics to those, properties and places that are looking for guidance. Like if they don't know what that means, you're like, what does economics mean? Does it mean like how much I'm charging? Am I, donating to local charities? Am I hiring local people? Like they don't know what that means. It's too vague. So I guess it's helpful in a way to choose which, you're going to talk about and to at least know what what it looks like if you're going to try to do all of the things, and then you realize like how difficult it is, and in some locations it might be impossible, but we all just do our best, with the intention of being as sustainable as possible. And the last one for the is rewarding businesses that follow the principles. So be aware if it's like greenwashing, because it's my feeling that if they're really doing some of those things, at least one of those things is going to be mentioned somewhere on their website. Like if they're doing the local food, that's going to be mentioned in the dining section of their website. If they're doing a lot of things that are related to energy efficiency, there might be a whole section on that. So look for that information. But if that's not as important to you, then maybe just the symbol is enough for you, or maybe just knowing that it's in one of those more sustainable destinations might be enough to meet with your standards. So you have to also bring your standards into the standards, and be a little flexible, especially during these times when not necessarily everything is available that you might want. And one way for them to do this on a more widely is to have the countries and the cities and towns and states have regulations and policies that encourage the use of more sustainable practices. Like I was so happy I saw a post from our governor here in Vermont, I think it was just yesterday or day before, about his commitment to making Vermont more sustainable and to encourage, and I believe there's some federal funding to be used for that purpose. And so Vermont's a good place to come visit. I can definitely help you out with that. So those are those 13 principles under the futureoftourism.org's, understanding of it, based on all of the different groups that have come together and pooled their knowledge and what they realize is important. So my host agency is affiliated with Virtuoso Consortia, which is a luxury travel consortia, and they have a sustainability mission. They realized during the pandemic that this is a good time to I believe they call it like a conscious comeback. It's a if most travel stopped and then it starts up again, it should be in a more sustainable way, not to encourage all that over tourism that was a problem before, and yet to have it be balanced, to have enough tourists, go to each area so that, their whole country doesn't collapse. So they have 3 pillars that travel protects. They like a focus on travel that protects the planet, travel that supports local economies, and travel that preserves cultural heritage. And as you see, those are very similar. I mean, all of the ones that I was just speaking about fall within that category. And I'm just looking through my cards here. the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So the only thing that's different is the sustainable management pillar, because obviously Virtuoso is focused on travel. So they don't, need to focus on how the government is running and that type of thing. Although that's, maybe just, focusing on travel at all is helping in that respect. Let me see. I didn't have that much for today, so that might be getting to a close here. So knowing that it's impossible to navigate everything on your own, that's where someone like me comes in. I have access to, preferred suppliers and not even just hotels and resorts. Like if you need a private jet somewhere, I can help with that. If you want to make sure you're able to get back home if you get ill while you're traveling, I can help you with that. I can help you with travel insurance. I can help you to customize a trip that you have, always dreamed of but didn't know was possible. And I have, suppliers who can help me with all of those things in different countries, in my country, United States, like everywhere. So, I mean, I can, if you use preferred Virtuoso, there's sometimes special benefits. Sometimes you'll get, special perks that you can't get on your own, even if you could find the same rate and the same, tour or whatever yourself. Like there are things that you cannot do that I can do for you. And there's even ways to expedite passports and things like that. So things are usually doable, even if you don't know a way to do it yourself. And I do charge a service fee, just so you're aware. And I'm probably going to do another masterclass on why it's important to work with a travel advisor when planning your travel. But for now, I'll just leave it there. And my company is Balanced Explorations, and the focus is sustainable travel, but I am a luxury travel advisor, so I can help with any of your needs. And I can also help you use maybe a portion of your service fee. I might be willing to use that towards carbon offsets to help you make your trip more sustainable. So thank you for joining me today and for this 3-day masterclass. You can, if you have any comments, you can post them and let me know on the replay if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And have a great day.